Understand how important it is to hire the personnel needed.
HR is important for a lot of reasons. So one, your company culture is based on the people that you have in place. And so some people think, well, if they have this skill set or that skill set, that's good enough. But if you have a toxic person working with you, then every client sees them, every employee is affected by them, and it brings people down. One of the things I love is that I love where I work. I love the people I work with. They don't hear me saying that. Yes, yeah, no, I love them all, and it's a really great environment. You want to come to work. Like I have to be kicked out the door to go home, and
really
that's what you want in your environment. And so when you're hiring, as Suzanne was saying, there are certain things you shouldn't be asking. You can't ask about religion.
Children.
Yeah, you can't ask about kids. You technically can't even ask if they have a car. You can. There are ways to go around that, though. You know, do you have reliable transportation, or would it be hard for you to get from point A to point Z? And you'll hear, and people tell you everything you want to know. Really, just let them talk. They'll tell you everything. People have told me things that I'm just like, you should never tell anyone that, but they do. And so you don't have to do anything illegal. They'll tell you everything. And so, yeah, just
a couple of leading questions.
That's it, and sit back and listen. But one of the most important things is you want to have an HR manual. Yes. You want to have set policies, set procedures. How do you manage vacation, if there is vacation? How do you manage sick leave? Like we just had to rewrite our snow policy because it snowed so much recently. And so you want to have all those policies in place. There should be standard forms. Everything should be standard. And what you should also be doing is once you get the person in the door, so once you've gotten past the job description, the first thing you do is sit down with them and review it again. This is what you're expected to do. And they should sign off on it. Now, you should always have the catchphrase and other duties as necessary. That's the loophole you want to always have, because especially the small business owner, you don't know. Today you might have to take out the trash. You know, tomorrow you might need to go and represent yourself in front of a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Everyone has to be on deck to do whatever is necessary. So you want to have the manuals, you want to have the policies in place, and everyone should know what they are. In addition to that, beyond that first day review, you should be checking back. You should have an environment where people are comfortable coming to you and saying, I don't understand this task. When you first hire someone, there has to be a little bit of patience just as they transition. So even though I might know everything there is to know about social media, I don't know how you do your social media. So you have to have that transition time, but you need to scale it out. So there should actually be a schedule that says, okay, these are the things you're going to learn this week. This is next week. By the end of this month, I expect you to have done your homework and know it. So you have to establish what your expectations are from the beginning and stick to them. Okay, so that's part of what you're going to do. But I'm a big believer in the first day checkup, the 1 week checkup, the 1 month checkup, 3 month checkup, 6 month checkup, and a year.
And you thought your mother was tough.
It's vital. You have to do it. And you have to have a policy where people can come to you when they have issues or concerns, because it's nothing worse than thinking someone understands and then they give you something that's horrible in response. Yeah.
And the most, which is very important to what we can do, the toughest and one of the most difficult and critical decisions you can ever make is who is your first hire.
Yeah.
That first hire.
And your first fire.
Right. And firing people. That's a whole other subject that people, if you've never done it, can be very difficult, because you don't, I mean, we are in an at-will state here, which is good for the employer to a point, but you know, you really have to be able to back up what the reasons you're firing someone. And it's always good, always say, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. Yeah. That's always my first rule. You have to write copious notes if you have an employee that you feel like you're going to get rid of. And if you feel like that employee is not going to work out, you need to keep notes. You need to have meetings that you both sign off on. Right. It's very important that you build the case to fire someone,
because
so they don't come
you
back
will
on.
hear from the employment commission.
Yes, yes, you do. And verbal's not good enough. So
No.
when you have, I tell everyone, when you have a verbal conversation, follow it up with an email, just to say, in summary, this is what we discussed.
This is what I understood from the meeting.
Yes, but I had to go back to what Doug was saying about the first hire, because that's really important, because once again, talking about your company culture, the person with the most seniority is the one that everyone else follows. And so your first hire is
really
going to...
is your senior, is your senior person. Yeah. And if it's someone who doesn't have a good attitude, someone who decides that they hate the company.
They'll poison everyone who comes in after them.
Absolutely. And then you're constantly fighting that uphill battle to find someone to come in and handle that. That's always a hard thing.